Good morning. So let's see, what do we got going on? I need to get started on working. Alright, I need to work on the join flow timers. Currently they're using they're using a date time variable which is not replicated properly and screws up your system clock with system clock stuff. So we need to change how our level flow works so it's not using kind of the broken system time stuff that is causing us problems. So I need to, it's been a while since we looked at it. So I need to start working on that. Alright, so if we crack this open, we've got these timers for everything, which are these date time objects. And what we need to do is, instead of using these like date time objects, we need to use seconds and stuff like that, like how many seconds until something spawns. So let's think about it. I can use replication for stuff, or I can send messages of like when things are going to be. So I could have it all event based, but the issue would be if somebody joins, they're not going to get the number. The other thing is replication might not be super amazing. The other thing is I could send the server's time and we could calculate, basically the difference between the server's time and our time. Alright, so let's see, different solutions. I kind of like the idea of having a server time and being able to always calculate some sort of offset or something like that from it. So maybe we should do that. We should have like a pulsing server time sort of object, which we calculate like a time offset from the server that we are. So we add in like a correction factor there. Because that could really help out for a lot of things. Like it let us send timestamps and we could fix them. And that would work. So where would we stick that? It would be like on a player controller sort of thing. So why don't we do that? This would be server get server time. And then we need a new event, which is going to be client get server time. And what we're going to do is pass back some data. So what exactly are we doing with this? Because you can't pass date times across, as far as I remember all this stuff. Yeah, it's date time from array, so like we're sending an integer array. So this will be run on owning client, reliable, run on server, reliable. So the inputs are going to be the time data. Oh, what is this? I already have like a server time thing. Interesting. Okay, so I already have a server now? Alright, so the question is, when did we add this? Did I already fix this bug? Like, I mean, that'd be cool if it did, but I have absolutely no recollection of fixing it. And if I did fix it, I need to know if it's actually fixed. Alright, so let's see. Chat controls, fixing myriad bugs. Let's just see if I fixed it. When was the last update? We released the last update on the 6th, so I should go back to the 8th. So 110. Alright, so alright, well, so let's change our time to 8 in the morning. So it's now 8:50 a.m. on my machine. Oh god, what have I done? So what I should do is I want to play against a server that has this sort of stuff messed up. So if we go and we actually just play the game in production, does it work? Alright, so let's try to join a server. Get ready, 1701. So yeah, it totally isn't fixed. Okay, so is the server actually sending this thing? Net set timers unreliable. Alright. Net set all timers. Alright, so if the time, if now, alright, so if our clock is ahead of the server time, then the diff is going to be now minus server time. So if we're ahead of the server time, we are going to add, we're actually going to make ourselves more off, right? It's like, if our clock says 9 o'clock and the server says 8 o'clock, we're going to add 1 hour. Alright, so this is just off. So we're reversed in what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing like server time minus now, which would be 8 minus 9, which would be a -1, which would fix our clock. So, okay, these things are just flipped. Well, shit. If that fixes it, then that's super awesome and not too bad. So we can just get rid of this garbage. So how am I going to test this, though, is kind of a question. Well, I need to have a server and I need to host it on something that is going to be right. I need to build a dedicated server and run it on something. Alright. It's kind of a giant pain in the ass. I could get a package build and run it on the build machine. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Alright, I'm gonna have to clean off my desk for the build machine. So let's kick off a shipping build for this thing. And I'll be off screen just a second. Alright, so we'll get a shipping build of this thing, we'll run it over on that other machine, as well as this machine, and we'll adjust the clock and see if it fixes it. It's kind of funny. I had already fixed the bug, but I had just fixed it by making it worse. The best way to fix bugs is just to make them worse. That way somebody else has to fix them, right? Wait, I have to fix it because I'm the only engineer. Shit. So let me just get the other machine rolling here. The cord for my headset is like almost too short to reach over here. Alright, now we just gotta wait. Just run through this stuff in our head again. So if now is greater than server time, this is going to be 9 and this is 8. Then we want to go back in time by 1 hour. Wait a minute. So we have this time, and this time is going to come in and it's going to say that this is like, if the server time is 8 o'clock and it's saying 8 o'clock, then we're going to need an add an hour to the time, right? Like, so we had it right, didn't we? Because this would have been like 8 o'clock. We need to add an hour to it, right? Or because it comes from the server. Did I not even save this? Shit. So this didn't work? This server time fix didn't actually work? Seems really odd to me. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more than just this, I'm gonna have to put some logging, I think, in here. So let me go ahead and write it out. So I think we might have had it right with the first time. So all right, so server time is %s. Right now is %s, and the time passed to us is %s. Diff is %s. All right, so we need the server time. Right now is now. Then we have time dot toString, and then we also need the diff. So the diff is going to be just now minus server time. And then diff is blah, and then corrected time is time. So let's just say f date time original time is time. Okay. So this thing will have to cook all these assets. We won't have to cook everything again, at least for the new build. Alright, so that cook finished. Let's cook up another build of that, since we changed everything to include a few logs. Well, let's verify that stuff's wrong and like get some actual data here so we can figure out why our times are wrong. I mean, we're using our fixed, yeah, we've set all of our timers and done all that stuff, so. Alright, so we'll build that in, and yeah, anytime you got client-server issue work where it's like clocks and other things that are screwing up your... Anytime you need two machines to like actually test something is a real pain in the ass, it real slows down development. I mean, I guess I could, you know, simulate it, but I'd rather not simulate it. Give myself a false positive. Because I think it should be just as simple as printing it out and then it'll click. And the package builds aren't that long. Alright. So we'll copy that over to the other machine. Takes just as long to copy as to frickin' do anything else. But at least I just need a build over there that works, and then I can screw around with stuff locally. I should actually be able to connect to this via the editor. Supposedly, at least. Watching progress bars is all I ever do. Yeah, this is one of the fun things with time and everything else with computers is you might think, oh, you know, like clocks are always going to be synced and all these other things. You're like, actually, no, and it's a big problem. Like I remember one time we were having problems with our Cassandra database on one of our projects at EA because we were like writing to the database with a specific timestamp, and the server clock was off. And of course, as a result of that, the subsequent write was being overwritten because our clock was too far ahead of the other one. So I'm just setting up this other server. So I want to create a game. We'll start it. I need the... Yeah, okay. Alright, so that guy is just running over there in the build machine. So first off, let's make sure we can join it. What? It didn't build? The following modules are missing or from a different engine. That's not correct. Yeah, why is it... Is, like, the editor still running? I guess so. Must have not shut it down properly. Because, I mean, it looks like I already fixed this bug, but, you know, obviously that's wrong because I'm still seeing it. I could try to connect to production or to test. Let's just make sure I can join this other server. Come on, Unreal. Give me, like, something? I had to open up the level. Alright. So on 10.1.10.25, even is not defined. Alright, so right now server time is this. Time passed to us. Alright, so the server time was this. Right now is this. So we're off by 1 second. So server was at 7, we're at 8. The correct time for this thing is, yeah, so that's correct. That's supposed to be right. Alright, so if we change our clock, even as not defined. Well, let's take a look at that even is not defined issue. So it's going to be inside of screens somewhere. So this will be join IP screen. Alright, so that should be fixed. Okay, so the server said it is 2 hours ahead of us. Okay, and it sent us 2 hours ahead of us. So we corrected to so the diff is 2 hours, and we basically added 2 hours, and we should have subtracted it. We should have, yeah, so right now, so this is if our clock is slower, we've got it wrong. So let's think about this. So if, I mean, is it literally just that it doesn't matter if server time, like it's just supposed to be, we're just supposed to add the diff? Alright, well let's try that. Is the editor not closing now? Why is it not closing? It is debugger present and not always. I don't know. That's really odd. I don't like that. It might be that because my system clock is so fucked up right now that that we're having other issues. We're 2 hours in the past, so everything's gonna start freaking the hell out. The one and only Tim, thank you for following. Very good. Alright, so trying to get this time correct. Okay, so our time is this. We're supposed to be subtracting, so like the diff is -2 hours, and the corrected time, like we didn't set it back. I thought we did. We added a -2 hours to time. Wait, what? How is this different code? Finally, it's me. I'm watching Adam's stream. He bought the game, streamed it last week. Awesome. Alright. Loving the game, man. Alright. Well, that sounds excellent. And thanks for sticking around, supporting stuff. We're still like, you know, super early access and everything else. Okay, I think yeah, okay. Windows is like really not happy with this. I can't even build the fucking game. It's Visual Studio is just not even building when the clock is wrong. It's really damn funny. Okay, there it goes. Yeah. So yeah, I guess because right now I'm trying to fix an issue where if the server clock and the client clock are off, what's going on is it was wrong. It was basically if your clock was slower, I think it was adding in the wrong direction, and as a result, your clock was gonna be wrong for all your timers. So like if it was like 10 seconds left, you'd be off by like 5 seconds, and that's no good. So I had some math in here to fix that, but I think it was wrong for one of those cases, and now I'm just testing it out. I've got a build machine over there running the game that I'm connecting to, and I'm trying to like screw with my clock and reproduce the issue. And whenever I change my clock, things start going wrong on my machine. But it'd be nice if this was a simple fix like this. And I am not as I'm not as entertaining as Adam, and I am a lot less Australian than Adam. So I'm sorry to disappoint everybody. Holy shit, there's our clock actually working properly. Let's see. 119, 118, 116. Yeah, that's how you score. Bam. And that's with keyboard controls. So I want to make sure the post-game timers are correct as well. Oh, come on, that was totally in. Ah, fuck you, fat sack. Get in the damn goal. There we go. That just finished 4-3, 2-1, 0. And match starts in 15, 14. Awesome. Okay, so that totally actually fixes it. So let's close this off. I'm going to change my time to. I'm going to change my time to the future. So it's now 11 instead of 10. And we'll see if it still is fixed. It's okay. I'm enjoying this thing behind the curtain. It's not about being Australian on the outside. Yeah. It's not about the beard on the inside, little Hank. Or it's not about the beard on the outside, little Hank. It's about the beard on the inside. Yeah. So now that my machine is in the future by an hour, we'll see. Because I was trying to walk people through. I thought it was like system clock stuff. And I was right about that, but it was funny walking some people through actually fixing their system clock, because you'd think like Microsoft automatically updates your clock all the time, which it does and it's supposed to, but it really doesn't do a very good job of it. It's actually kind of interesting where some people's machines were actually off by quite a bit. 47 seconds, 47 seconds. Awesome, so it fixes it. That's great. But to actually like force Windows nowadays to synchronize with like your time servers, you have to go into your control panel and then like go into like 4 screens in order to fix it. And it's real dumb. Like it's amazing just how dumb can be sometimes. But I remember when I fixed it for one person, they were just like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like my system clock was off by like 10 seconds, and that made it so I couldn't play the game. It's like, yeah. Because you go and you like click and uncheck like automatically adjust time, and it doesn't actually synchronize. Those precious time servers, they just don't have enough time. Alright, so it's actually fine for us to use date time. We just have to correct our date time, which we now have a function to fix our date time, which is excellent. I'm actually going to make an other convenience function. This will be like date time from array fixed, from array auto, and we're going to have 2 arrays. One will be server time, one will be not server time. Alright, so what we're going to want to do here is check if the server r.num does not equal 2, then server time equals now. And then we're just going to return, yeah, we'll just do that whole thing, date time from array r. Why is this pissed off? Date time from arrays. Alright, well it's just going to be because this function doesn't yet belong to the gameutils namespace yet. And this will just be a nice, kind of an easier convenience function for us in the future. How do I collaborate with somebody so far away? Well, that's a good question. Basically, we use a couple different tools. I screwed up my server time, and now like the Twitch dashboard is all screwed up too. Oh man. Yeah, so like the time zone difference is probably the biggest thing. That's just a problem. Like, basically, I cope with that by completely screwing up my sleep cycle and being phase shifted with the rest of the world in kind of a rotating zombie mode from hell for my life, which is great. You know, since I don't go outside and like actually converse with normal folks. So that works out okay, actually. Other than that, we do a lot of video calls. Like we use Discord and Google Hangouts and everything, and you know we'll regularly have video calls with each other where we talk about stuff and you know work on problems. But probably the biggest thing is the other thing is like we have a very good division of responsibilities, right? Like Adam is a creative person, and he is in charge of the art, the design, and kind of any of the creative stuff in terms of that. So he has full control. He can make all the decisions he needs to make on it. And I'm in charge of all the tech and how everything functions. And, you know, kind of also the guy that just makes all the magical extra bullshit work. So I can just make all the decisions I need to make. I don't need to talk to Adam for a lot of stuff. And Adam doesn't need to talk to me for a lot of stuff. The other thing is we're both used to being very independent and working, and like Adam works remote for like Bob's Burgers and all that stuff. And while I didn't work remote at any of my jobs, I worked. There usually weren't very many server engineers, like maximum 2 on like any project I ever worked on, just because it's so incredibly difficult to find people with the server engineer skill set. If you're looking to be an engineer and you want to make money and always have a job, learn how to do server programming in like C++, Java, C#, or Node or whatever. You will always have a job. For as long as the internet exists, and as long as internet porn exists, you will have employment. So this join by IP is not prompting that thing. So both of us are very much used to not update if start on join click. Both of us are very much used to just doing what we do ourselves. Create cancelable loading dialog. Alright. It's because I'm lifting up the enter key, and the cancelable loading dialog is screwed up because it's listening for the wrong thing. So we have to fix our dialog box. Now the other thing we do is we use version control software, and we also use some other programs to keep files up to date. Like we have two ways we do that. One is we have a Resilio sync, which is like a torrent-based sync program with timestamps, and we basically have a folder that is mirrored on both my machine and on Adam's machine that we can dump stuff into. It's in this art sync folder. So like if I add if I add a text file in here, that'll go over to Adam's machine, and it'll get synced over there at any time. So that's real nice. The other thing is we use Perforce for version control, which is Perforce. We can check out files kind of like a library and check them in and work together on stuff. So we need to go to the UI. We need to go to screens, dialog. It's dialog.js, cancelable. Alright, set for loading and cancel. Can cancel.